This is my Acura Integra. What I have to do today is that I noticed the bellows or the boot of the rack pinion steering is broken. The boot out here, as you can see, is broken. I swung the steering wheel all the way to the right, so it's angled this way, and then take this power steering tie rod out. Remove the cotter pin. Okay, hopefully we can reuse this. Okay. Shock it. Okay, so it doesn't come out. I'm gonna use this puller. Okay, so that worked really beautifully. Came off really easily. Just had to make sure the center nut is right underneath that, and I just used this ratchet and didn't have to put too much pressure. Came off very easily. I'm looking from the top, and it's a very tight squeeze, but the back of the boot here, you could see that band, that silver band, I have to remove. As you also notice, there's a breather hose right here that I would have to take the breather hose off of the boot also. Okay, working from the side, I don't know if you can see, but I was able to get a small, thin, flathead screwdriver underneath the band, and I hammered it underneath the band. And so I'm going to keep working at it this way. Okay, so I managed to break the band. I slipped a larger screwdriver in and twisted the screwdriver, and the band broke. I'm going to measure from the last thread on the pinion here. I'm going to measure to the end of the tie rod. From the last thread to the end of the tie rod is 8 inches and 9/16. So we've got to remember that when we reinstall the tie rod in. So now we've got to loosen this lock nut here. Okay, so to remove this tie rod end, put the tie rod back into the knuckle, and then get a crescent wrench, and we're going to take this lock nut off. Okay, so in order to have greater access, I turn the steering wheel to have the rack move out this way. Okay, so I had to resort to using vice grips over here because 14mm is just a little too big and 13 doesn't fit. We have it here in the assembly so this doesn't spin, because this back here does spin. Thus I'm going underneath and tugging on this, and it's finally coming loose using the vice grips. Okay, so I was finally able to get the outer tie rod off of here, twisted it off. I want to retain this wire clip, so I'm got a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver underneath, and I'm going to spin it around to take it off. Alright, I took the ring off of here. I removed the old boot, and this feels still very solid. So I'm just going to put some more grease in here, and here's the new boot, and it has a different clamp mechanism, and I'm going to try to use that. It goes in like this, and then I lock it with the teeth here, and then I hopefully I can get some pliers in and crimp that, and it'll tighten the inner part of the boot. If this doesn't work, I'll just use some zip ties. Also want to show you the breather hose. I don't know if you can see it back there. It's way back there. You can see that hose. We have to connect the breather hose to the boot right here. Also, what I'm going to do is grease those teeth back there. Along that bar, there's some teeth, and that would be great to grease right now too before I put the boot on. So I slathered on a lot of grease there. We also grease the inside of this rim here of the boot, and grease this part right here so it'll slip over the rack over there. It's a very tight squeeze in there, so I had to use two hands to get it over the lip on the rack over there, but it's on there now. I was able to get the boot over the rack onto the edge there. However, I wasn't able to put this over while it was locked, the ring, while it's on, even on the last hook there. I just wasn't able to get it in that tight space. So what I'm end up doing is I'm going to unhook this, remove this ring, lengthen this part right here using pliers. Okay, so I'm still having a problem with getting this ring to go on. I'm almost flattened this to this point. So another thing here is this thing, the ring swings this way, and there's a bottom part right here that latches in here. And it's all the way up to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit more. I marked it in black there. I'm going to cut a little bit more with the hacksaw. Get the hacksaw blade in there. So I was able to get it over the boot, and it's locked in, but I have to pull that tab to tighten it, and I'm not sure if I can just squeeze it because it's been rounded. The edges have been rounded, so I don't know if I can squeeze it. I think another way is to put a screwdriver underneath and pull it up. I was able to get the breather pipe onto the bellow there. With the help of a screwdriver, I was able to put the lock ring on there. Now to reinstall the tie rod end. It's pretty dry here, so I'm gonna grease this up, the threads here, and this will help when I do the toe adjustment. Thread the lock nut on there. I will also put some grease into the tie rod end here. As you previously saw, I measured from the the last thread to here, and that measured 8 inches 9/16. So I want to emulate that. I'm going to have to do a toe adjustment anyways, so but you know, I want to get it close. Okay, I think we got it. The problem I'm having with this tie rod end is that this ball within here is turning, so when I attach this on here, you see this ball turns. I found the best way to prevent the bolt from spinning in the ball joint is to use a C-clamp. C-clamp it on the edges, and then this is the best way I found, and it works every time. And then you spin your nut back onto the bolt. And then finally, for the lower ball joint, put your bolt into the lower control arm and then spin on the nut